Awesome.
Nice.
Welcome to the podcast,
Thanks, man.
Mr. Max Zipursky.
Thank you.
It's very good to see you.
Yeah,
I'm going
man.
to start us off with this mezcal. I have to confess, I'm a little bit slow today
Yeah.
because I was at Guilt till about 3.
Dang. Okay.
Closing down the shop. Were you playing anywhere last night?
No, I wasn't, man.
No.
Just chilled out. Yeah. Actually popped into Biltmore just to check out the band.
Oh,
there.
who was playing at the Biltmore?
It was Ben Parker
Dope.
and friends.
Ben Parker and friends.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's sad not to have his weekly residence at Portside with Josh.
I know, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll just do a little cheers to Josh for a speedy recovery there,
yeah, for sure, man.
Mr. Josh Wiper.
Cheers.
So amongst being a keys player that's played in this city for what, 15, 20 years?
Yeah, probably around there. Yeah.
You've played with all sorts of musicians. You've also, understand that you do all the bookings for the Vancouver Club, for all the airport gigs, all that stuff.
Yeah. I have probably around 10, maybe about 10 venues right now. Running like
10 venues that you handle.
Yeah.
How do you keep that all straight? Or do you not?
Yeah, good question. I have a part-time assistant now, my buddy Daniel Child,
Cool.
who helps me out with a lot of the bookings. That's been a huge help. And yeah, man, I mean, we're lucky to have like so many incredible players in the city.
Yeah.
And
You got a huge pool to draw from.
exactly. So I'm lucky like that, you know?
Do you have to tailor, like obviously certain venues are looking for different atmosphere. Like I imagine booking for a place like the Vancouver Club
Mm-hmm.
is quite different than booking for, a place like Guilt and Company, for example.
Yeah. It's I don't do as much like original music, I would say,
Right.
bookings or like festivals or clubs necessarily. It's more like hotels, like corporate events,
Yeah.
galas, restaurant, all that kind of stuff. So
And that all goes through like your own company.
yeah, I have Zipursky Music as the company. And I probably started it a while back, like during the Olympics, actually, 2010.
Oh, cool.
So it kind of just like, grew from there.
Yeah.
Bit by bit, from just being in the city and, meeting people and playing at venues. And then,
Do you find the balance between your job as a booker and your job as a player,
Mm-hmm.
also your job as a father? You have a almost 2.5-year-old son.
Yeah.
What's that like to juggle those? Because obviously when and how did you decide to go into creating this company to book artists?
It was actually pretty like simple decision in the beginning. It kind of started from I was getting calls to play gigs, getting busy or whatever, and realized I was getting offers that I had to kind of turn down. But I thought to myself, like, just because I can't be there doesn't mean another musician cannot, be there. So I just started calling people I knew to see if, hey, can you cover this gig over here? They want a guitar duo or they want just a piano player or something. And just kind of like grew
So it kind of happened
organically.
organically.
Yeah,
You're like,
just bit by
I
bit.
can't play, but
I
know
if
someone
can't
who
be
can.
there. And I hate saying no to work. So I was like,
and you just became that kind of that person that people do to call to get someone.
yeah. It's sort of like just from playing around different rooms, someone will come up and say, "Hey, I have this event next month. Could you put together a band for it?" And if I couldn't do it, I'd throw together a band, and then just kind of grew from there, man.
Your style as a player, I think I saw something online like soul hip hop.
Right.
What would you consider your sort of your background is as a keys player in terms of, or do you consider yourself to be a certain style, or is that too small?
No, I started out actually DJing like way back in the day. My brother was a DJ.
DJ
Yeah.
vinyls.
Vinyl, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so we had turntables.
You still got a vinyl collection?
I do, yeah. Yeah, it's some of it's actually over at my folks' place on the coast.
Cool. You want to come over to my house, get my turntable working?
Yeah, man. They're fun. We had a nice little setup in the basement, and
Is that like high school?
high school, yeah. And we'd just record mix sets straight to tape, and then I would have the mic and be like shouting myself out and all this kind of stuff in the basement, and then put it to tape, and then that goes in the Walkman, and then take the bus to school and listen to my mix,
So you were like giving them to kids at school?
Mostly just for myself, yeah. But I'd put them on at parties and stuff, and So some of my very first gigs were my brother, a friend of his, would be DJing. I would sub in DJs with them, and then I would also like bring a keyboard and play keys while they were DJing songs. So just freestyle.
So
improv.
did you learn to play the keys to supplement DJing?
Well, I think I just kind of grew out of like DJing after a while, and just like the focus became more like primarily keyboard based. So I just kind of moved away from DJing, and started studying keys. Like when I was 15 years old, I started.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you go to school?
For music,
Yeah.
I went to CAP.
You're another Cap.
Another CAP guy.
Another
dude.
Cap. We just had Pemby on here.
Oh,
Who
nice.
you're playing with tonight?
Yes.
Yeah. This unfortunately will air probably weeks after tonight's show. But
good.
we had Pemby on for 3 or 4 days ago.
Nice.
Nice. She's another Cap. Alvin Brennan, he's another Cap. So many amazing players in the city have gone through Cap.
Yeah. It was a great place to meet people, man. Like that's kind of how I got to know, a lot of the people in the city. I would say it's probably like one of the most valuable things I took away from it was just the networking.
When were you there?
I would have graduated, I think, was it 2008, maybe? I don't know. Yeah.
Back in the time
day.
before time.
Back in the
in
day.
the age of wonder.
Yeah. So great, man. Good
Did you
experience.
would you study jazz? Would you?
Yeah,
I feel like
guess
that's
it was I guess the bachelor's like in jazz studies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's funny. You talk about people go to the music school, and primarily from an outside perspective, because obviously I've never been to music school. It's like jazz or classical.
Yeah.
At least in North America.
Yeah.
And I find, it's so much of music is rooted in those two origins, that it's like, do you find as a player that has given you like a foundation to start from there as sort of a base knowledge, or not even that you started from there, but does it give you a place to like grow and experiment, always being able to take it back to your knowledge of theory in jazz? Yeah,
I mean, I kind of wish I would have spent more time on the classical side of things, because that's where you get your technique dialed and everything. But it was just never my thing. I wasn't really maybe built to be a classical piano player.
Yeah.
So I was more of a, like the chords and the sound of jazz more than I, could perfect classical. So
Yeah, well, the classical, it doesn't really lend to jamming.
No, it's very scripted. Yeah,
it's like you can be great, really, really great, and then you get together with a couple other people, and they're like, "What are we gonna play? I don't know, just play." That doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I know. I've always found that just kind of interesting when I meet like a classical pianist, and they can just play the most amazing and technically difficult stuff, and then if you take the piece of paper away, it's sort of like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
So definitely for my style, I prefer the the jazz approach where you can do a little more improv and
Do you still play for you? Just noodle at home?
You know what? Not recently. Like I have a recording studio, the Space Studios in East Vancouver. That's where sort of all my synths and kind of gear lives. So I'll go there to jam a little bit. These days it's like
It's Space Studios, you said, right?
Space Studios, yeah. So I mean, I'll go in there like if I have something to get ready for, like a gig, learn some songs, rehearsal kind of thing. But recently, I haven't been spending too much time on it.
You do you work as a producer there as well for other artists?
Yeah, I have. I do like a lot of like co-writes and like work on someone sends me a beat or someone, you know what I mean? We'll just kind of work on stuff together there.
Yeah. And do you have artists that come there and record?
Oh yeah. So we opened Space Studios almost 10 years ago now. And since then we've had all kinds of just different range of bands, indie bands, hip hop artists. We've had voiceover actors come in and do stuff. We've had
you came into you play with Shad as well, don't you?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Have you toured with him before?
I have, yeah. So we did a pretty big tour, I guess, last spring, summer, all across Canada, and a little bit into the States. So it was over like 3 months, touring his last album, Tao. And it was a blast, man. Just go across Canada.
He's great.
Yeah.
He's super cool. I remember it's funny, Hoxley Workman just did his month-long residency at Gilton Company.
Right.
Which was awesome. He was such a cool guy.
Nice.
It was a really neat experience to because I've been a big fan of his since I was in high school. They say you should never meet your heroes. And I was like, there's no way that the guy that makes that music is a dick. Like, there's just no way. But there's always the niggling fear in the back of your head. It's like, what if he is though? What if he is? And then you meet him and he's literally one of the nicest guys.
Nice.
No, I should not use the word literally. I hate it when people do that. But I saw Shad. So he's got that song, Smoke Baby, from his album Lover Fighter, where there's actually a rap sequence in it. That when he recorded, the original recordings with a woman, but when I saw him in Vancouver, Shad popped out on the stage. This was like 10 years ago.
Oh.
Shad popped out on the stage and did the guest appearance, and it was really cool to see the two of them together.
Sweet.
I actually felt like I really embarrassed myself the other day when you came in with Shad.
Oh.
Because you walked in and I introduced myself and I said hi, and you're like, this is Shad, and I didn't clue in, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's Shad. And then I had actually met him like 15, 20 years ago. And I went in and did the totally lame thing of like, we've actually met. And he was like, fuck. I'm like, I don't expect you to remember. I just wanted to say hi and thank you. Yeah. But when I was in like 20, 21, maybe 22, I was in a band. A friend of mine was trying his hand at like event booking. He wanted to be a producer.
Nice.
I think he only ever ended up putting together a couple things and then decided it wasn't for him.
Mm-hmm.
But he was able to get, he had the Biltmore, and Shad was the headliner, and then my band and one other band, local band, were the two openers.
Oh, nice.
But it didn't mesh at all. Like it was not a cohesive, like.
What was your band style? Like you guys did?
Like Pearl Jam meets Alice in Chains. Like,
nice.
It was a lot of fun. And so I mentioned that. I was like, we opened for you. And he's like, what was your band's name? He was really nice. I was like, you wouldn't remember us.
Right.
And then instantly I was like, I should have just played it cool, man. I should have just fucking played it cool. But he was gracious about it. He didn't make me feel too bad.
Yeah. Super nice guy. Yeah.
So how long have you been playing with him?
A while now, man. Probably like maybe last 10 years, I guess, on and off. Like I there was one tour, short story about war, that album. I wasn't on that one. But that tour. But I've been doing shows with him for a long time now, man. It's been good because he used to live out here. So that's kind of how I met him when he was studying out here.
He's out east though, right?
Toronto, yeah, he is. So, but yeah, he was here for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years or something. So we connected, and yeah, man. It was one of my first shows with him was Randy Ponzio was in the group too, man.
Oh, Randy.
Yeah.
So
that was,
I had Paul on. Paul Clark. We had him on last month, I think.
Yeah,
and he was talking about Randy and the origins of Ground Up and all that.
Nice.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, it was Alan was the keys player for the original Ground Up band, right?
I think so. Yeah.
But you did you played a lot with them as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I back the day with JC and Prozzy and we had a lot of fun, man, those days, man.
Yeah, those good days. I just remember when I first started. Started at Guild every Thursday. It was like the same band, but there would be a different vocalist, and it was like rotated through Tanya or Dutch or all sorts of whoever. And Yeah, it's cool to see where it's gone from there though, because it's so. I'm the community of musicians in this city that I've been exposed to just through my work.
Sure, you see everyone. Yeah,
Is really neat, but it's also grown so much. Like my small, very very small window that I see through, or my circle, my hemisphere, um, has grown so much because in the 12 years that place has been open, the amount of musicians that come through grows every year.
right.
And the community keeps getting bigger and more interlinked and more intertwined. And I also fall victim to the fact that I'm like, you all know each other, right?
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always assume that everyone knows everyone.
Yeah. Every keys player in the city knows each other. It's like, actually, they're the least likely to know each other.
Right. Yeah.
Because if one of them's there, the other one isn't.
It's someone else. Yeah.
But you do a lot of double keys gigs, which is always really fun.
I enjoy it, man. It's like, it's so great. It's such a cool sound, you know. Like I always enjoy, obviously, playing with the guitar friends. But yeah, the double keys thing's a bit different. It's a different sound. It's cool.
You want to out any keys players as your favorites to play with?
Oh man, I mean, there's so many in the city.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start. It's like, there's just too many good keyboard players.
So you're like, no, because if I out my favorites,
say
then
them all, man.
Then I'm by
all,
proxy outing my least favorites.
I don't want to forget anyone. Yeah. No, we're lucky, man. It's like, I'm always just so surprised at like, you know, how good everyone is, man, that I'm hearing these days.
Yeah.
So,
What shocks me a lot is when I see players pick up an instrument that I didn't know they played.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, of course you can do that.
Yeah. I saw was that Patrick Gavigan on drums at Guilt like a couple weeks back, and I was just like, what?
I saw that.
Of course you do that too, you know?
I saw that I wasn't there that night, but I was looking on the calendar and I was like, it wasn't a mix of artists that I had seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd seen everyone in the photo. Obviously I'd seen them play.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that I love about the city is how many, like, I'll look at a booking, the name of a band. I go, I have no idea who that is.
Right.
And then I'll pull up the photo and I go, oh yeah. I know who all of those people are. This is probably a new band.
Yeah. Always making
it's always like a new band. It's like, oh, well, what's the name of this one? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or this is not a band.
Totally.
But it's neat to see. Yeah, I looked at that photo and I saw Patrick on it. I was like, oh, Patrick's singing. Cool. He's singing in a different band. And then Freya got home from work and she was like, no, he was drumming. I was like, cool.
I know.
Yeah.
Crazy,
or even over at Portside for Josh and Ben's like weekly gig. The amount of times I would pop by there after work and see like everyone just kind of like jump on the stage, pick the closest instrument and play it.
Yeah, I wish I could do that, man. I'm kind of the one instrument, man. You know?
Well, I mean, you can play one very, very well. I can play one almost.
There you go. Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So a question I wanted to ask because I was so curious when I saw it. I was like, what the fuck? I Googled your name.
Okay.
Because that's what you do. You jujule the name.
Yeah.
And the first thing that came up was your LinkedIn profile.
Okay.
Where it says you're a talent agent.
Right.
For the name of the company. I'm blanking.
Integral artist.
Yeah.
Yes. That's that's kind of a more recent thing. I tried. So like during COVID when, all the gigs sort of evaporated and I was just at home chilling with my son, I was kind of like, I gotta just trying to think of like what could I do for some work and because there's just 0 gigs and that's pretty much primarily all I do, either book or play a gig. So I reached out to a friend of mine who's kind of like been working at this place which is involved in film and TV. So it's like kind of 2 sides. There's one that deals with the actors and then there's one side of it which is the side I work for, Integral Artist, that's like behind the camera. So all like hair and makeup for film or like wardrobe or line producers, all this kind of stuff, but I noticed they didn't have anyone representing composers, so I just reached out to them and said, would you ever consider having me on board as an agent to rep composers for film and TV? So
cool.
They thought, oh, that's kind of interesting, and and I happen to know a few composers and then met others, some via LinkedIn, some just through emails and referrals and stuff. And so I'm still learning that whole side of things. It's a different world, film and TV. I definitely thought like more of what I do from booking events and stuff would translate over to that world, but it's not really the same thing.
Totally.
It's a different thing. So, but it's cool. It's like a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, it's also neat to find out because my access to musicians is through like the gigging world,
right?
And going to local shows and working at a venue. That's how I assimilate music.
Mm-hmm.
But every single show that you see or film that you watch has a score.
Totally.
And even the ones that have soundtracks still have scores. There's still someone doing like the music when they open the door and all the little cues.
Oh, sound design stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Which is it's sound design and composition, which is something they like almost if you're good at it, you as a viewer you're not thinking about it because you're creating an ambiance, creating an experience.
Totally.
And it's neat. And then obviously we know about the big ones, right? We know about the Alan Silvestris and the John Williams and those composers who do those huge scores. Like you can every kid, everybody between the age of 35 and 45 can go dun 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 dun.
Yeah, those are anthems.
Yeah. But it's such a huge world. I recently found out. I think who was it? Is it Steve Bedall? Does he do TV compositions?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was recently looking at someone, probably in prep for the show, and found out like a big part of what they do is composition for film and television.
Yeah, there's a handful of people that are like like someone like Marianne Chet is super
yeah, she does a lot of that
and busy with gigging and everything and
and Mary's doing Hey Viola with Crystal DeSantos right now.
Yeah.
I had Crystal on. Crystal was actually my first guest.
Nice. So
we got to talk about Hey Viola in the lead up to the show, which I'm actually going to see tonight.
Cool. Is that in Vancouver? Or is it a touring thing?
It's at she's not. I don't think she's touring it this round. She toured it. She's toured it twice.
Okay. Cool.
But it's at the Gateway Theater.
Nice.
Which unfortunately, when this airs, no one will be able to go see. But the Gateway Theater is a great spot. Do you want some more mezcal?
Yeah, man.
So what was that like? I'm gonna move this away while I pull this. Transitioning, or not transitioning, but exposing yourself, I guess, to the beast that is film and television.
Yeah.
Coming from the music world.
I mean, I'm still feel like I'm in the process of, it's been like 2 years now that I've been with them. And I still feel like I'm in the process of learning, like just, it's like, in the music world, like I said, like going back to Cap or saying, I met these people and then I did gigs with them and booked them and stuff, but that's over a span of like a decade plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a while, I feel like, to get to know people, go out and have a coffee, like for them to know that you exist, like when they're, the whole idea is sort of like, we're writing a film and, who should we call that has a link for composers, and there's like a few, there's like one, I guess there's a couple of people that do in the city, like sort of, rep composers and whatnot. But it's, right now I'm still in the process of trying to meet the directors, producers, anyone, editors, writer, like just whoever, and might be looking for a score for their film. And, we meet every week, at the office and discuss leads, some new stuff that's filming in Vancouver or Toronto, because we also have an office in Toronto. And we just kind of like, everyone picks who they're going to try to email and reach out to. And, we just sort of see what they're looking for.
It's a really, really tough world to get your foot in the door in.
Yeah.
Because it's
crazy. Yeah.
Every door seems closed. Right.
Yeah. It's funny because you're trying to like essentially be helpful by linking people up, the right people with the other right people. But it's, sometimes I definitely feel like I'm like nagging people to like, hey, like, it's me again. Like, do you need any composers or do you need, so it's a little bit of that, but that's also part of the job. It's just like,
Yeah,
an
and it's a
agent
weird
job, you know?
weird business too because every it seems like it's a world where all the doors seem closed,
Mm.
and then for like there's like here is where you're at point A, and to point B is a corridor with like 10 doors,
Right.
and they all, every once in a while like one opens up and then the next one's closed.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, that industry all 10 of those doors will just swing open for fucking 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in the right place at the right time,
Totally.
it's
Yeah,
just
man.
what it seems like
Yeah.
from as somewhat of an outsider looking in, but also from success stories of my friends of times that they've just really had a lot of luck. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's wild, man. It's like, I don't know. It's cool. I try to, my whole thought with it is like, I like to do everything sort of under the umbrella of which is music, whether
Yeah.
it's music business or composition or bookings or that. So, for me, it's all interesting because I'm learning, as long as I'm learning
Yeah.
more about music and life while I'm doing it, I'm happy,
and it's also like I guess now that the world has been open again for about a year.
Yeah.
Gigs are back,
Mhm.
bookings are back. It's this stress of making it work right away is significantly less.
Yeah. Yeah. It's more of like a part-time thing for me, I would say. But I'm open to seeing where it goes,
Yeah.
Because it's cool, man. I love meeting new people and like some of these composers, just the stuff they write, it's so beautiful. It's like, just needs to be heard. So
And it's very like ethereal sometimes. And that's what's so neat about
it's a different style of music for sure,
Yeah.
composition, because you can just kind of hang out on a vibe for a while, and like that's what.
Do you do any of it
creates-
yourself?
I've done a little bit of it. I took a stab at it with a buddy of mine, Daniel Klenner, some years back, and we started doing just a little more like music for little ads and stuff. But we quickly realized it's like, I mean, with royalty-free music out there now, and like it's sort of just like a shot in the dark. Like you can write something you feel like, oh, this is so cool, but it's just like, does anyone else think it's cool?
Yeah.
Like, will anyone ever hear this sort of thing? So
Have you ever talked to Dutch Robinson about the ad work he did in the 80s?
no,
So
that's probably amazing.
I don't even remember what it was, and I should remember the jingle because it's one of those jingles that from our childhood
Okay.
that
It was
has
Dutch.
that has been stuck in my head my entire life.
Right.
And he was there. I don't know if it was a show he was playing or if it was just he came in to catch a set. But people were piling out, and I was chatting with him, and then someone came up to talk to me, and then I just hummed or sang a line of this little jingle, just sort of as a tick, right, as a nervous tick. And he goes, "I wrote that."
That's amazing.
I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah. I didn't get any credit for it though."
Oh.
I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, I worked for this company, and I was just one of the writers on staff." He's like, "I wrote that jingle and this jingle and this jingle and this jingle."
Yeah.
It's like I don't have any credit for it, but they paid me to write it.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah.
Such a weird world, the
Yeah.
ad world.
Yeah. If you ever, write one of those big ones, big hooks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think isn't that the whole premise of there's some show where the whole premise is like the guy writes jingles or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What show is
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd probably be embarrassed if I knew.
Yeah.
So just pretend I didn't say anything.
Yep.
You mentioned earlier about something about the festival season coming up. Are you doing the festival circuit this round?
This summer I have a couple summer dates with Shad in August, somewhere in BC, I think, and the odd little thing, but I think I'll be around this summer. I'm planning to just I booked this it's fairly new. It's like Music in the Plaza at Brentwood out there. They do like over I think 5 or 7 of the weekend days in July. We do it's like full festival stage and music from I don't know like 2 to 8 p.m. kind of thing each day.
Cool.
So I'll be here to help organize that, and then other than that, man, I kind of like wait all year for it to be summer in Vancouver. So if I can stay around for it, I'm like,
Totally.
I'm pretty into it.
Yeah.
So I think
It's probably also a lot harder to hit the road with a 2.5-year-old son at home.
yes, for sure, man.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily, my lady, is a big support there.
Yeah, shout out to Naray.
Yeah, big shout out.
You guys are definitely what I consider a musical power couple. Yeah, Nere's coming on. I don't think we've booked a date yet, but
nice.
she's going to come on the show
Nice,
as well.
nice. Sweet, man.
Yeah, it's funny. I knew both of you for probably 5 years before I knew you were together.
Oh, really?
And I knew Nere for the longest time before I figured out that her and I were from the same fucking town.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. One of her best friends growing up was literally the girl next door.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Both lost it. Yeah.
It was wild.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys, you were in Star Captains, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we started Star Captains ages ago. We just actually had a writing sesh like last week. Our buddy Jim Black.
You guys doing another album?
I don't know, man. Well,
That would be cool. That album was really good.
Nice.
Star Captains. It's I forget the name of the album, but it's the only one on Spotify, right? Star Captains.
Lightwork. Yeah.
Lightwork.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how I forgot that because we had a cocktail on the menu called Lightwork for like 3 years.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, check it out. Star Captains. It's on Spotify and Apple Music, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
man. So yeah, we're just like we've all been friends for so long, so I think we just kind of hook up and hang and write some music, and wherever it goes, it goes. If it turns into an album, EP, single, video, whatever
it does, yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, there's no like pressure because we're not, we're gonna do it regardless. I think like just because we're,
I love that there's still Star Captains quote on one of the bathroom stalls in Guild.
Yes, man.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And it's funny too because my boss, the owner of Gilton Company, Jordan, talks about the broken window sort of ideology, right? If you go into a place and you see a broken window, you assume the place is trash,
right,
and you're more likely to treat it like trash. So it's like when you're running a business, an establishment, the little things, the little bits of graffiti that add up, or if someone like the longer it takes you to fix it or mend it or paint over it or whatever it is, the more likely it is to be compounded.
Right.
Because people just, when they're in an atmosphere that's shit, it's like when you go into a dive bar, you don't think twice about carving your name on the fucking table.
Right.
But you would go into a classy place, you're not going to pull out your steak knife that they just served you or whatever. But I bar, I don't know why you'd have a steak knife and carve your name on the table.
Yeah.
So we've always been tried to anytime graffiti shows up in the bathrooms, we try to paint over it as quickly as we can.
Right.
Which is annoying too, because most of it is just like my balls, or like someone would for like 3 years, and I think I know who it is, but I'm not going to out him on the air. But someone would go in with the same marker in the same stall and write Slayer.
Okay.
But I'm like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
It's a good question. Yeah.
But I came into work one day and just like in beautiful font in one of the bathroom stalls, it's just like Star Captain's quote.
Yeah.
Sitting in the back room, sipping on some new ideas.
Yeah,
Star Captains. And I was like, Trevor and I were kind of talking about it. Trevor too is our head sound tech. We were kind of like, do we paint over it? And it's been there for years, and no one has added to it.
You don't know who did it?
I don't know who did it. I have no idea.
Oh, I thought it was you guys.
No.
Oh, that's even more funny.
No, it's graffiti.
Oh, that's amazing.
And we just left it.
Wow.
Yeah. Absolutely no idea who did it.
That's crazy. This whole time I was like, oh, it's a shout out from like Guilt or something.
No, it was
Okay,
someone painted it on there, and we were like, it actually kind of looks intentional. Let's just leave it.
Funny, man.
And it's been there for
years.
But what I love about it is because if anyone added to it or defaced it,
right,
we'd have to paint over it because we wouldn't be able to fix it.
Yeah.
But what I love is no one's touched it.
Yeah.
It's been in every single other one of those bathroom stalls. I've painted and repainted many times over. Or like we've tried to put up little bits of wallpaper, and people have like, drawn a cock on it or something, and we've had to like take it, change it.
Sure, yeah.
But that one has stayed. No one touches it.
That's amazing.
And I always thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So shout out to whoever that person is.
Yeah.
that
that's amazing.
that graffitied
Yeah.
our bathroom with a Star Captain's quote. Oh, sorry, pardon me. So
good.
you are playing with Don Pemberton tonight.
Yeah. Guilt and Co.
At
tonight.
Guilt and Co.
Yeah.
You play all the time in the city.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
As a booking, what do you call it? A booking agent, a booking person,
Sure,
a booking them.
a booking. Yeah.
Do you book yourself?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it's probably like I don't know if there's a ratio, but I probably now with the booking stuff, there's a lot of things going on. So I've definitely taken on less gigs. I think I just find it harder these days to carve out the time to feel like I'm like prepped for the gig. I don't know if anyone ever does, I guess, but
Mhm.
there's some months there where when you take on like you know whatever it is, like 4 gigs, 5 gigs a week or something, you're like, yeah,
That's a lot.
finding time to be ready for them all. And if they're like
Yeah.
solo ones, whatever, little jazz duo ones, that's fine. But it's like gigs like, where you have to learn 3 sets of music for or whatever. Um, yeah, I find I have less and less time to like prep for those. So I've taken on less, I guess. Um, but I still like really enjoy, the gigs that I'm playing.
Yeah.
Like, tonight will be awesome, man. It's a great crew.
Yeah. Who else is it's
Don Pemberton singing.
Yeah.
We got Derek DiFilippo
awesome.
on the bass. He's kind of heading the gig here. And Mike Arda, an old friend of mine, drummer.
Cool.
So he's actually like one of the first guys I started playing music with. Actually,
Back in the
White Rock days.
back in the DJ cassette tapes.
Yeah, just shortly after. Yeah, we've had a little weekly gig side shows out in White Rock, where I'd play with Mike and Jim Black, Gavin Youngash,
Oh,
and Nimish Barek on bass.
we had an artist come in the other day, young guy. He played the early show, and I'm blanking on his name. Really, really sweet guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he came up to me after the show. I was chatting with him, and he mentioned that Jim Black was one of his like mentors
Okay.
when he was young, and Jim Black actually gave him his first gig.
Oh, there you go.
So Guilt for him was always a place that he wanted to play. So when he got his gig at Guilt, he messaged Jim Black. And,
Nice.
yeah, he was in town like a couple months ago. It was cool
Yeah.
to see him. He came up and did a cameo on stage.
Nice. Oh, Jimmy?
Jim Black.
Yeah. He was just here for a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he's up like Yukon or something like that.
He's way up, man. He's in a place called Fort McPherson, which is like just up.
Just
Like if you
up.
I think if you like drove, it's like the distance of driving to like Winnipeg, but you go north from here. It's like
Yeah.
it's just he's way up there, man. So he's doing his thing, but yeah, he was just here last week. We did a little writing session. Great, man.
Oh, Jim
Great
was here
singer.
last week.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I saw him when he was here. Like, I want to say 2 months ago, but that's just the general term that I use for
Sure.
everything longer than a week and
Yeah.
less than 2 years.
Yeah.
It was like 2 months ago.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, no, dude, that was a year and a half ago. My kid wasn't even born.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I don't have kids. Like, I got no frame reference. You
Times,
know?
yeah, no doubt.
Do you? How is
Nice mezcal, man. Holy smokes.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
good. It's good. Probably a loaded, super broad question.
Okay.
That may be too general. But how has becoming a father affected the way that you interact with the gigging world as a musician,
The way I interact with it.
or like just how what has it changed? Do you find that it's changed? Do you find?
I mean, the later gigs hurt more now, for sure.
Yeah,
than they
totally.
did before.
I mean, later gigs hurt more for me now.
Just in
and
general, they
just
hurt.
because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
fucking old.
They start to hurt.
Or I
yeah.
feel old. I'm not even that old.
No, man, you're young, dude. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just like I say, it's time has become it's like a time management thing, I would say now, with having the young one. And also like sometimes I just like would rather be playing with him and hanging than like working on my craft, I guess,
Yeah.
So that's how it's changed. Maybe like it's definitely I've taken a lot more time off of the instrument since we had him, and so that in that sense it's changed a bit. But he actually came to a show that we did at Jack Pool Plaza when I was playing with Shad, and it was just like so awesome seeing him front row.
Yeah.
It was just like it was cool, man.
Did he have big muffs on?
Yeah, he's got the ear cancellation. Yeah, totally, man. But he was there hanging,
Yeah.
so it's great, man. And Yeah, I don't know, man. It's I'm not sure how it's like changed it, but it's just my focus has probably changed. It's like here's this human now that I'm
Human.
gonna hang out with, and
Yeah.
maybe less days of just like trying to transcribe Herbie Hancock solos. Like it's kind of like
Yeah.
they're still important. Herbie's the man. So, but yeah, sometimes I just gotta be at home.
Yeah. Do you, as being what I termed earlier as a musical power couple, is there like, do you have a hope that he'll be into music,
I mean,
or a fear that he won't?
I'm kind of like maybe don't do music, but no, he can do like whatever he wants, obviously. But yeah, I don't think we're not pushing him to like,
Yeah.
hey, check out what mom and dad do. Like you should. It's
Yeah.
like if
he's still so young too, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
It's like,
you could push him later.
whatever he gravitates towards. That's what I just like. I'm inspired by that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but yeah, who knows, man? I mean, we'll see.
Does he show any early inclinations of being interested?
I mean, he's got to work on his vocals. He's a little bit.
He's a bit pitchy.
He's a little bit pitchy right now when he tries to sing, But yeah, I don't know. He's coming up with his own little songs and
Yeah.
doing his thing, man. So
Yeah.
he really just likes trucks right now. That's kind
Yeah, of course.
So
Of course. My nephew just turned 1, and
nice.
I bought him. It's funny too because I know my sister hates plastic, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm definitely not buying my nephew any plastic toys, because if she lets him play with it, she'll hate it.
Right. Yeah.
So I went over to there's actually that really cool children's shop on Commercial Drive. It's called like Little Earth or something like that.
Okay.
And it's all like private, independent, like toy makers and stuff like that. And I went in and I was like super proud of myself that I found this wooden. He's 1. I'm like, it's a wooden dump truck got like the blocks that like you put the circle in the circle and the square in the square.
Nice.
And it says 2 and up, and he's only turning 1, but I'm like, he's whatever. Toy's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm not very good at shopping, so I was like, I got it. Good uncle. Gift purchased.
Yeah,
and then I bring it home, and Freya, my partner, the first thing she says is, "It's wrapped in plastic." I'm like, God damn it!
Just can't win. Man.
You can't fucking win.
No. What can you do? Yeah, that's good. The wood toys is where it's at, man. If you can,
yeah, because there's too much. There is too much plastic shit in the world.
Yeah.
I was watching this stand-up comedian the other day who was like, I don't even remember. Oh, he was making a joke. He was talking about woke. It's Kyle Kinane is his name. He's a really funny stand-up comedian.
All right.
He was making a joke about how he's doing the left versus the right comparison, and he's like, even the people that I agree with, my liberal friends, he's coming from the liberal side, are getting fucking annoying, and I don't want to talk to them anymore because they're like, yeah, we're super woke and we're super woke. He's like, yeah, but you still brought in another shitty white child into the world. Like, you're part of the fucking problem. And they're like, no, we're going to raise our kid to be a feminist. It's like, you should probably raise your kid to be able to ingest plastic, because that's who's going to survive the next generation.
Oh man. Yeah.
Awesome. So what's on your horizon? What do you got anything that you're excited about musically?
What's going down? I mean, I just have right now there's just planning out like some mostly just with the booking stuff, I guess, just working with some new new-ish venues, ironing that out, doing a bit of writing with Star Captain's Peeps and my friend Terrence DJ Tilo, shout out in Toronto. We working on some stuff, so that's cool. Yeah, other than that, man, just like taking it all in.
Other than these 10 million things that I do on a daily basis, I got nothing going on.
I'm just taking it in stride, man.
Do you struggle to keep it all compartmentalized? That mezcal's working.
Yeah, it's really good.
Like you've got this sort of like I guess we'll call it streams, right? You got this place where it's you're booking for these venues, and under that there's 10 venues, so every single one of those venues has a contact person that you're dealing with, and then those you have the contact person that you're dealing with through on the other side of that is the artist that you're trying to book,
right?
So that's already 10, 20 people you're corresponding with back and forth
Right.
to book these gigs. And then you've got, the composing side, you've got the work you're doing over here.
Yeah.
Your inbox must be fucking awful.
Yeah, I have a few different accounts,
Yeah.
How many get neglected,
How many email accounts do you have?
I have 3.
Just 3.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not as bad as I thought.
No, I have 3. I keep it chill.
Keep it chill.
Yeah.
Because it's tough when you get to like the 5 and 6 range. I'm just like, why do I have so many fucking email addresses?
There's so many. Yeah, there's so much. But I mean, no, yeah, it's a good balance, man. Like between, we have a good thing going on at the studio right now with the people that are in there producing, rehearsing, renting. So that's been going great. It's kind of doing its thing. The booking thing's always kind of changing, and it's always exciting. Yeah, man. I mean, I just, all of it's sort of on the go all the time. So it's not, I don't have nothing comes to mind right now that's like specific that I'm like working towards. I think I'm just trying to like deal with it all day at a time kind of thing.
Totally.
And just look ahead,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something I love to ask artists that are more or less my peers in terms of and you mentioned when you were DJing you were making mixes and putting them on tapes.
Yeah.
So like you obviously had a Walkman
Yeah.
at one point, which means that you had a Discman at one point.
Yeah.
Which means that you knew what making a mixtape was more so than I did because you were actually doing DJ mixes.
Right.
The way that we as a society consume music has changed so drastically in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Do you feel that we've lost anything or gained anything? I guess to frame the question a little bit more is I remember being a kid spending literally every penny I had at a record store.
Right.
You'd go and you'd get it was either a gift certificate, you'd get
like A&B Sound or something.
A&B Sound, right?
Yeah.
You'd go
Sam the record man.
You'd get your gift certificate and your cash from your birthday or Christmas, and you go into the store and you would wander the store for 3 fucking hours, being like, no, because I only got this much, and you look at like all the new stuff that's come out, but all the new CDs were $20 to $25, but you could go into other stuff and you could pull out stuff from like the 70s, 80s, and you could get those for like $6 to $12.
Right.
So it's like I would always go in and try to get like a mix of like new because I wanted to have like one cool CD to show my friends, but I also wanted to have more music because I really wasn't that cool. And that having to, and then when you played music, you had no choice but open up your catalog that you had personally curated.
Yeah.
And now we just have all this free access to everything. It's relatively free.
Yeah.
So much, which is great. But I feel sometimes that I've lost my appreciation for like the art of the album.
Right.
Or, you listen to, you go back and you listen to a record that you loved as a kid. And you put on and you listen to the whole album and you're like, yeah, that is how they intended it to be heard. They're like, listen,
Front to back,
listen to it. It's 45 fucking minutes long. Just listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, man.
Do you find what's your reaction to that?
I mean, like these days, I think you're right, man. It's like, because there's so much music out there, it's hard to even kind of know where to start. Like I usually just wait for a friend of mine to be like, have you heard this album? And then I'll go check it out and try to spend some time with it, But yeah, the days of like, lying down and listen to a record front to back.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man.
That was half my childhood, my teenage years.
Yeah, I think like the only time I do it now is when I take the dog to like Spirit Park,
right,
and have like an hour in the forest there, and I'll just like, I'll try to get through a whole album, and it's just a nice time to focus and like just walk and listen. But yeah, other than that, it's like, I almost don't even know where to start. There's just new stuff coming at you every day, and it's all like so amazing, because when I was listening to music in the beginning, like there's no internet, there's no, I was downloading stuff off Napster to like, get stuff, and like, going in, same thing, to buy like cassette tapes, or like whatever. I'd they had the like 10 CDs on display at AB Sound, so you could go and like listen to
Yeah,
them.
you got to listen
And
to
that
them.
was like your top 10 of the week, and you listen to them all and be like, oh,
I
yeah.
was always the one that would get kicked off because I would
Just hang there.
They just like, you can't. Are you gonna buy anything? I'm like, I don't have any money.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, man.
I'm fucking 12.
I bought so many CDs, and it's like, yeah, so many records, tapes.
Do you still have your CDs?
I do have CDs. They're like in my storage, just in a huge box.
Mine are in my storage.
Not
as well.
in cases, just all just there.
Same. Oh, I got
like,
3 cases, probably about like, I don't know. I'm holding up my hands, but if you're listening, you won't be able to see it. About like 5 or 6 that are 6 inches, just stacks of CDs, and they're wrapped in T-shirts.
There you go.
Because I don't know how they came out of the CD wallets and became loose.
Yeah.
And the only reason I haven't just let them go is all of the CDs I purchased at gigs.
Mm-hmm.
So there's stuff that was like, it's not findable unless I want to track down someone I haven't spoken to in 20 years and being like, do you still have a copy of that 3-track CD I bought at your gig 20 years ago?
I know. Yeah, people have been telling me that, hey, you should just like burn your CDs on your computer. But I'm just like, that's just
But
weeks.
computers don't even have fucking disk drives anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So like, how do you even do that? So yeah, man. I have like
and I haven't touched them.
No, they're just there.
They're just there.
You just sleep better at night knowing that they're there somewhere, you know? Like,
what about tapes? You still got any tapes?
Man, I don't. Tapes never lasted as long, right? Because they always fall apart, and so I might have a few.
But they didn't scratch. That was the thing, right?
Yeah. No, I have.
They would warp.
I think I have like a old like Tony Touch mixtape that I've been hanging on to forever because it's just classic, like Mix 46 or something. Yeah. But yeah, I have like the Adidas shoebox filled with mini discs, some from like
mini discs
live shows I went to. Yeah, I used to like. I'd like keep the microphone outside of my shirt, and I'd go and like to somewhere like Bumbershoot, watch Common or De La or like a show and record it. But like all the recordings, you just hear me like yelling the whole time or trying to laugh along. It's like not listenable.
It's like not enjoyable at all.
So they're there,
but it's nostalgia.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. But yeah, the game is for sure changed. It's like I don't know. It's but it's also like the positive is now you get to just like you can listen to somebody on Instagram and like reach out to them, be like, you're amazing, or like go see their shows easier. Everything's like all the promos there. It's like it's easier to network in that sense too.
Yeah, so it's also if you're interested in music culturally or historically, you're able to educate yourself and expose yourself to so much more. I mean, that's the good side of the information generation, right?
Yeah,
it's you can go on a downward spiral on the internet, actually educating yourself. I'm not talking about like do your own research, that whole like that we all know who those people are that think that Facebook is research, but there's there's a wealth of knowledge and culture that exists at your fingertips, which is the upside. Totally, but sometimes I'm like, was it worth it?
Yeah,
was it fucking worth it?
Yeah, it can be overwhelming, right? It's like
mixtapes. That's another one. I feel because people make playlists, right?
Yeah, that's like the OG Spotify playlist.
But it was this thing specifically about mixtapes, and I don't know if I've said this before, and I've probably said it on this podcast, so people are probably getting bored. Was that you actually had to listen to the whole thing,
right?
Like while you were recording it, you couldn't just like pick a track. So every single time you were putting the next thing on the tape, if you hadn't had it planned, you had to like pick it, and part of picking it was the experience of everything that you listened to previously to that.
Sure.
So it was like a journey. Like making that tape was a whole journey, whereas now it's just clicking and dragging.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I feel like that was actually a really useful tool, like from DJing and learning how to like go from track to track and be like, this. Let's keep this vibe, and now let's take it up, and now let's take it down. And then like when I started playing gigs, I basically applied that to like reading the room or whatever, and being like, okay, let's like go from this track to this track and whatnot. So it's kind of like that was a useful tool actually. I noticed from like DJing first to playing like a live show after,
cool. Because you can be at very, very different places, vibe wise, musically, at 5 minutes and 25 minutes.
Totally, it's like picking set lists.
But you got to get there, right? You got to be able. It's
that whole time in between. Yeah, you're like,
which is what makes. I think that's what makes live performances so, amazing.
Mhm.
Is watching the artists take you there.
Yeah, man.
It's it's
those
a really
are the
neat
best
thing.
kind of shows. Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're more of experience,
But also, like as an artist, what does it feel to take people there?
I mean, it's like real time watching people's reactions. It's that's what you feed off of. It's amazing, man. It's like, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes they go with you, sometimes they don't.
Yeah. Sometimes you're like, I misread the room.
Yeah, maybe not that
But-
one.
but, yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that. But
C'est la vie.
no, when it works, it's nice, man. It's really nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
to have them with you for sure.
Cool. On that note,
Mhm.
well, one more tiny little one.
All right, man. Having a mezcal nap,
I'm gonna have a mezcal nap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Paco and Lorena are gonna be like, you drank all the mezcal. So tonight, which no one will be able to no one listening to this will be able to benefit from.
Right.
You are at Guilt and Company playing with Don Pemberton.
I think so. Yeah.
We've already talked about this a little bit, but do you have any gigs upcoming in the next months in the city that people can come see you play at?
Nothing that I know of that's like public gigs.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to be part of the Illuminati
Yeah.
to see Max Zipursky play.
You got to message me. You got to, come be ready for some easy listening
Sweet.
jazz music. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Well, it was an absolute delight having you on
man.
the show. Thank you so much for
You're the
being
man.
here.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.